Welcome back to another episode of Student POV at GV. The show where we discuss a hot topic at GVSU every week, exploring solutions researched by students for students. I'm Caitlin, and today we're going to be tackling one of the most talked about issues on campus, transportation.
Parking and bus services have been a challenge for everyone I've personally talked to. I live on campus, and it is still not convenient to get from one place to another.
Just this semester, I've seen 4 people fall.
Well, today we're going to cover current problems, including those falls, with you all. We might even have a solution to fix one or two. I'm joined today by my co-host, Alec and Lily. Christina's taking her vacation days this week, but still chiming in on this hot topic from her private beach in Jamaica.
Hello everyone, my name is Christina Edwards and I am joining you from my beautiful beach house in Los Cabos.
How are you two doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well, guys. I am excited to talk about something that affects us all. Personally, I struggle with some of these topics we're about to talk about every day, so finding solutions for all of this will be awesome.
Yeah, I think a lot of students are frustrated with the current system, so hopefully we can come up with some good ideas.
Absolutely, definitely. I know I've been late to class more times than I'd like to admit because of these problems.
All right, let's jump right into our first topic, extending the bus line. A lot of students are finding it difficult to get to campus, especially with the bus routes not reaching some of the further parts of town. Caitlin, you've done some research on this issue, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So currently, the bus lines are limited in coverage, and for students who live off campus in areas that are further away, it's really inconvenient and sometimes just not available at all. Extending the bus routes to cover more neighborhoods, especially west of Allendale, could be a game changer for those who rely on public transportation. I mean, imagine not having to worry about parking at all, and you could just hop on a bus and be here.
It'd be amazing. Exactly. And the environmental impact of more students using public transportation instead of driving would also be a win for university's sustainable goals overall.
Yeah, using alternative transportation is actually step 3 in GVSU's 10 ways to lead a sustainable lifestyle on campus and in the community.
So are there any plans to expand the bus line? What's your take?
So after talking to Chris Swank, Director of Parking, Transportation, and Facility Services at GVSU, I learned about the West Michigan Express implementation plan. The goal is to extend the bus line west all the way to Holland, increasing both number of buses running and park and ride options for students. But based on the results of the feasibility review, a pilot express bus service connecting Holland, Zeeland, and Huntsville to downtown Grand Rapids is recommended as the first step of implementation.
Wow, that sounds like great things coming forward. That is so exciting. Do they know when details will be finalized?
So we could pull up the plan and take a look. Currently, plan is on step 3 with Title VI and ADA review. This is required for most new services, and express routes don't have complimentary paratransit as per FDA regulations, so this would be exclusive to Grand Valley students. There's definitely a few more steps in this process, but it's a relief to see something in the works.
Are any of those stops going to be close to you?
No, of course not. When talking to Chris, there was a pilot bus route from campus to downtown Allendale, but due to low numbers of riders, it was discontinued. It doesn't surprise me, though. I think the goal of this plan would be much more effective if it was done for students really far away, not just local to Allendale.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your findings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Seeing change for the future is exciting, but it doesn't change our current parking situation. Alex, what did you find?
So moving on to our next topic, adding more on-campus parking. This is absolutely a huge pain point for students, especially during the peak hours. It seems like no matter what time you arrive on campus, finding a parking spot can be an absolute nightmare, and you may end up parking a good distance from where you want.
So what actually can help with this?
So we've looked at ways to expand the amount of parking spaces without sacrificing green space. After some research and conversations with people on campus, here's what seemed to make the most sense. So expanding existing parking lots on the west side of campus, specifically Lot J, which is an open area right to the left of it, as well as designating more existing parking lots to either be student only or at least student accessible. And lastly, implementing a multi-level parking structure. Some universities have done this actually to alleviate parking congestion And if the demand is high, then we need to think big, which means more spaces or a more efficient system for students to find a spot.
Right, and there's also an issue of cost.
Yes.
A multi-level parking structure would take a significant amount of funding, which could come out of the university budget, government grants, or the unpopular idea, which I don't really like, increasing parking permits.
Yeah, I don't think that idea is going to resonate well with a lot of us. Although the benefits of a structure like this would be that it saves a lot of space by building on top of what we already have, and it would provide weather protection. However, it would also create a lot of congestion and traffic at the entry-exit points.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think now would be a great time for some student input.
Yeah.
Hey guys, it's Lily here. I'm going to be reviewing our Google form we created regarding busing and parking feedback. We sent this Google form out to 20 students. So let's dive into each different question. Have you experienced issues with overcrowding on the buses? 6 people said no, and about 14 people said yes. Do you think the current bus routes effectively cover key areas of campus and nearby housing? 6 people said no, 4 people said yes, and 10 people said somewhat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how satisfied are you with GVSU's transportation and parking availability? 10 meaning it's amazing, there's nothing GVSU could fix, and 1 meaning room for improvement. I won't read all of them because you can kind of tell there's a mix between all the ratings, but it's between a 5 and a 4 of what students most voted. Do you think there is enough bus stops in convenient locations? 13 people said no, and 7 people said yes. Does the cost of a parking pass factor into how you commute? 19 people said yes, and only 1 person said no. Do you think there are enough parking spaces available for students during peak hours? Everybody said no. Ironic, isn't it? Have you ever been unable to find parking when needed? 3 people said rarely, 8 people said sometimes, and 9 people said frequently. Do you think GVSU offers affordable parking options for students? 18 people said no, and only 2 people said yes. How often do you circle a parking lot multiple times before finding a space? I won't read all of them, but you can tell that nobody said never. It is definitely an issue students face every day. Do the current bus operating hours meet your needs? 2 people said no, 9 people said yes, and 9 people said somewhat. And that was all the questions for our Google form. As you can tell, a lot of students expressed within the Google form how much individuals struggle with GVSU's parking and busing operations. All right, enough of me talking. Let's get back to the podcast.
Switch gears. Talk a bit more about something that's a little bit out of left field. Heating those sidewalks, preventing those slips. Winter is rough in Grand Valley.
It is.
Absolutely. During the winter months, icy sidewalks can be a real danger on campus. Lily, what are your thoughts on this idea?
Heating sidewalks might be inexpensive fix, but I think it would be a great investment to campus safety. Students slip and fall every year because of icy patches, especially in the higher traffic areas on campus. Personally, I've seen people fall. I've almost fallen. Literally, it is something I'm scared of to do every day going to class in the winter. I'm like, if I fall, this is embarrassing.
It's a
like,
hazard out there.
everybody's going to see me fall. Like it, and it's like scary. Like you can seriously like break bones. Like I've heard multiple stories of like people seriously, look right up there. Like the impact of your bone hitting like concrete and stuff is it's serious. Like this is funny, but it's also like it's serious. Like you can be put in a cast or go to the hospital because of this. Mm-hmm. But if the university installed heating sidewalks, it would eliminate a lot of safety hazards, and students wouldn't have to worry about falling on their way to class every day.
Plus, on top of that, it would save time and money in the long run by reducing injuries and potentially lowering medical costs for the university. Not to mention, it would make the campus a lot more pleasant to navigate during the cold months.
All right, let's get real for a second. If you've ever crossed the GVSU bridge in the winter, you know it's not just a walkway.
Alex, are you okay? Oh my gosh, this bridge.
It's a slip and slide.
Yeah.
That's the key part. I
Yeah.
like that.
But seriously, there's a simple solution that could actually fix this. Adding metal grating and try plates to the bridge.
Totally agree.
Hear me out. Metal grating would let water and snow drain right through. So instead of pooling up and freezing into the ice rink, the moisture just disappears. No more surprise figure skating performances on your way to class. Then there's the tread plates. The raised metal surfaces that give you an extra grip under your feet. They're built in to last and give serious traction even in the worst of weathers.
I really feel like this kind of upgrade would reduce the risk of slips and falls, make the bridge safer and more accessible. Students, faculty, even your stressed out TA sprinting at 8 a.m.,
Yeah.
everyone would be safer.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's durable, year-round solution that just makes sense. GVSU, let's make it happen.
Until then, though, walk carefully, friends, and maybe invest in some ice cleats.
Yeah.
Today I just want to talk to you a little bit about the meeting that Alex and I had with Mr. Scott Whistler, who is the construction project manager for Grand Valley. So we talked about these 3 different projects. We talked about the heated sidewalks, the bus system, and the parking lots. And honestly, the main constraint for these is the price. Grand Valley's budget doesn't really include a lot of upgrades to these accessibility features, but we did kind of talk that through, so let me just tell you about the heated sidewalks first. So the cost to rip up current sidewalk and put in heated sidewalk is actually a lot more expensive than just putting in the heated sidewalk to begin with, and Grand Valley has actually been really great about this recently, but we have actually been putting a lot of heated sidewalks in at main access points to different buildings. I'm sure if you ride the bus, you know that the heated sidewalks near the Kirchhoff station are really effective, and they've also been putting into the newer buildings kind of like in that main entryway. So that is kind of like the main constraint for that project. But other than that, he thought it was a good idea. It's just really the money that's kind of the problem there. And same thing with the parking lots. I think he said it cost about, how much money? $30,000 per space? I don't know. We talked to him about the parking lots needing an expansion due to it being really difficult for students, especially in the south neighborhood of the Allendale campus, to find parking. And while he said that each parking spot was a very hefty price, he didn't think it would be such a problem. The only other issue that could come up is really the space to actually put the parking spots in. Other than these main issues, he thought that these were some really good ideas, and I agree with him. As a student who's recently had surgery and it's affected my mobility around campus, I think that heated sidewalks, especially for students with chronic injuries or illnesses, could help them go uphill or just get around without the fear of slipping. As for the bus system, I think with any other type of student, commuter students can definitely benefit from a longer bus system, but also everyday students. I know Mr. Whistler mentioned that a bus system extending more toward the west side of the state might not be as effective because of the lack of commuter students, but I actually disagree with him. I think that Allendale is a pretty secluded space, and it's about 20 minutes, 30 minutes by bus to Grand Rapids. I don't understand why we shouldn't have a bus system extending to the west as well. Not only would it be helpful for our commuter students, but it would also open up job opportunities for other Grand Valley students and, in general, just increase Grand Valley's visibility. Well, that's all from me. I'm Christina Edwards, and I have to go snorkeling now. Bye.
All right, thanks, Christina. Those are just a few of the ideas we think could really improve transportation and parking at our university. We all know just how frustrating these issues can be. I think that Grand Valley is for sure, has a lot of good things going for it, but there's always room to improve.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like that we had student surveys out to students just like us that struggle, and you can see from all the charts we included and stuff that we're not the only ones struggling here.
Yep.
It's a lot of other Grand Valley students, so yeah, I'm excited to see change, and hopefully this has an impact on a few people and be like, yeah, we need to change now. So,
Absolutely. It was really eye-opening too to see, like, I've never walked across the bridge, and now I've got a much more greater idea of just how important the ice there in reducing risk is.
Yeah.
And obviously I complain all the time about driving in, so all of this was really insightful and the students' POV at GV.
Well, we hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know if you have any other experiences or thoughts you want to share, because we would love to read all of those. But yeah, other than that, We'll see you guys next week.
Subscribe to the Patreon. Fill
Peace.